You have $3,140,000, and right now you're standing in line at a gas station, wearing a jacket with a tear in the left sleeve. Nobody behind you has any idea. The guy in front of you is buying a lottery ticket. You're buying black coffee. Exact change, counted out of your palm, because that's just how you've always done it. Your truck is sitting outside, 12 years old. The check engine light's been on since March. You could fix it today. Honestly, you could buy 10 of these trucks before lunch. You won't. Not because you can't afford it, because somewhere along the line, looking broke became the safest thing you ever learned how to do. Your name is Mason Wells, and around here, that name doesn't mean much of anything. It means the quiet guy at the end of Cedar Street, the guy who still mows his own lawn at 58, the guy who waves but never stops to talk long. The cashier calls you Han. There's a look she gives you, half kindness, half pity. She thinks she's got your story figured out, old truck, old jacket, counting change. And she's not wrong about what she sees. She's just missing most of the information. Because back at your house, in a filing cabinet in the hallway closet, there's a folder, a rent roll, a route log written half in pencil, a one-page summary from an accountant named Mr. Bell. And at the bottom of the last page, there's a number, $3,140,000. Nobody's ever seen it, not your neighbors, not your sister, Angela, and definitely not her husband, Frank. Here's the thing, though. The real mystery was never how you got the money. It's why you hid it. And the answer to that doesn't start with money at all. It starts with a kitchen table, a utility bill folded down to nothing, and one sentence your father said in 1987 that you've carried every day since. We'll get there. First, you need to see the life. Your house is one story, brown brick, built in 1972. The refrigerator hums a little too loud at night. There's a blanket draped over the arm of the couch, hiding a worn spot. You've been able to afford a new couch for 19 years now. The blanket stays. Every Saturday morning, same diner, same booth, 2 eggs, wheat toast, black coffee. Doris behind the counter always rings you up with the senior discount. You're 58. You don't qualify. You've never once corrected her. And then there's Frank. Frank married your sister Angela 22 years ago. Frank leases a brand new SUV every 3 years, like clockwork. Frank owns a boat he takes out maybe twice a summer and pays for all 12 months. Frank feels sorry for you. He'd never say it. He doesn't need to. It's in the way his eyes catch on your jacket. It's in how fast his hand goes for the check at lunch. I got it. Mason. Don't even worry about it. And you let him. Every single time. But here's the strange part. Frank makes good money. Frank looks like money. And Frank checks his bank account the way a man checks a wound. Fast. Sideways. Hoping it looks better than it feels. You check yours on Tuesday mornings with a cup of coffee, calm as a farmer checking the rain gauge. Same town. Same family. Same lunch table. 2 completely different relationships with the same thing. Everybody around you assumes your small life is what happens when a man runs out of options. They see the torn jacket and think it's a lack. They see the old truck and think it's a defeat. They've got it exactly backwards. The jacket is a decision. The truck is a strategy. But listen, nobody disappears like this for no reason. Nobody spends 30 years building something this big and then works even harder to keep it invisible. Somebody teaches you that. For you, it was a man in work boots, sitting under one yellow kitchen light in the fall of 1987. Your father. You were 14 the year the plant shut down. You still remember the sound of your father's truck pulling into the driveway at 2 in the afternoon. A truck that was never, ever home at 2 in the afternoon. You remember him sitting down at the kitchen table without taking his jacket off. Nobody explained a thing. That's how your family handled money. By not talking about it. But you saw things anyway. Kids always do. You saw the utility bill folded in half, then in half again. Like folding it smaller might make it smaller. You saw your mother counting coins at the grocery register, chin up the entire time, daring anyone to say something. And you saw the neighbors. That's the part that never left you. The Hendersons across the street, who used to wave, suddenly just watching. Relatives calling more often, but only ever to ask questions. A man from the bank showing up at the door in a clean, pressed shirt while your father stood there in a stained one. Your family's trouble had become the neighborhood's entertainment, and their pity had teeth in it. Then one night, your father found you at that same kitchen table, staring at math homework you couldn't focus on. He sat down across from you. He was quiet for a long time. He was always quiet. Then he said it. If nobody knows what you have, nobody can take it from you. That was the whole speech. He got up and went to bed. He probably never thought about it again. You never stopped. See, most kids who grow up around money trouble come out with one of two lessons. Some learn to chase money loudly, so the whole world can see that the fear is over. You learned the other one. You learned that being seen has a cost, that attention is a kind of tax, that safety lives in silence. You didn't want to be rich, not at first. You wanted to be unfindable. And 20 years later, that lesson was going to walk straight into a broken vending machine in the back hallway of a warehouse. And everything was going to start. It's 1996. You're 28, working the floor at a distribution warehouse off Route 9. Back hallway, by the time clock, there's a vending machine with an out-of-order sign taped to the glass. It's been dead for 6 weeks. One afternoon, mostly out of boredom, you ask the supervisor who owns the thing. Old guy named Kowalski, he says, runs a whole route of them around the county, trying to retire. Can't find a buyer. Everybody else in that hallway hears that and hears nothing. You hear it and can't sleep that night because you'd been standing next to that machine for 2 years, watching guys feed dollar bills into it every break, every shift, every single day. You didn't see glamour. You saw repetition. So that Saturday, you drive out to meet Kowalski. 14 machines, scattered across warehouses and break rooms. Half of them need work. His knees are gone. His kids want nothing to do with a bucket of quarters. He's asking $9,000. You offer $6,000. Cash. Every dollar you'd saved by living like a man who had nothing. He shakes your hand. You drive home that evening with a trunk full of keys and a route log written in pencil. And here's the part that matters most. You tell no one. Not your coworkers, not Angela, not the woman you were seeing at the time, not because you were ashamed of it, because your father's sentence was already running the show. Monday morning, you're back on the warehouse floor like nothing happened. Nights and weekends, you're at the kitchen table with a soldering iron and a library book, teaching yourself coin mechanisms. From the outside, nothing changed. Same guy, same jacket, same truck, same packed lunch. Nobody saw an owner's. Nobody saw an owner. Most people walk right past cash flow every day because it doesn't dress like opportunity. You just bought 14 machines worth of it for the price of a used car. And the machines were only the start because quarters, it turns out, know how to multiply. If you let them. The system was almost embarrassing. It was so simple. Every quarter those machines produced went into an account you never touched. Not for the truck. Not for the house, not for one single visible thing. The machines bought more machines. 14 became 26. 26 became 40. Then in 2001, the laundromat over on Meridian remodeled, and the owner put the old washers up for sale. You bought 8 of them, cheap, and leased them into 2 other laundromats across town. More quarters. Same silence. By 2004, the quarters had grown into something with a roof on it. A duplex on 5th Street, bought at auction. Ugly as sin, rented out in 90 days. Then a second duplex, then a third. The money did not arrive all at once. It arrived the way water gets into a basement. Quietly, steadily, while everybody's looking somewhere else. But don't let anyone tell you it was a straight line. In 2009, the whole thing nearly came apart. 2 tenants lost their jobs in the same month. A route contract got canceled. And the bank holding your duplex notes got nervous and started calling. You sat at your kitchen table that whole winter with the folder open, running the same math over and over. You were maybe 4 months from having to sell. And this is where the disguise saved your life. No boat payment, no lease, no image to keep up. Your personal life cost almost nothing to run. So you cut where it didn't bleed, carried the empty units, fixed the machines with your own hands, and held on. Frank, that same winter, sold his boat at a loss to cover a credit card. Neither of you knew the other one was drowning. his fight was visible. Yours was invisible. Only one of you came out the other side owning more than when it started. By 2015, the number in the folder crossed $1 million. You read it 3 times because your brain refused to file it as real. Then you closed the folder, put on the jacket, and went to work. Here's what nobody tells you about hidden wealth. The hiding is the expensive part, not in dollars, in distance. Every Thanksgiving, the same script. Frank holding court about the market, cousins comparing kitchen renovations, and you in the corner saying nothing, while quietly owning more than everyone at that table combined. They think you're quiet because you've got nothing to add. You're quiet because you've got too much. One year, you skip Thanksgiving altogether. Angela calls that night, worried sick. "Mason, is everything okay? Do you need help?" Your little sister, offering to help you. You almost laugh. You almost cry. You do neither. "I'm fine, Angela, just tired." There was one night you nearly told her, her 40th birthday, just the two of you out on her back porch, the party glowing through the window behind you. She said, "I worry about you." You know, alone in that house. No cushion, no plan. The sentence was right there in your mouth. "Angela, I own 11 properties. I haven't needed a paycheck in 9 years." You could actually feel how good it would be to say it out loud. And that feeling, that exact feeling, is why you didn't. Because you'd seen what happens when a number gets loose. You watched it happen to a guy from your route who won a little settlement money. The cousins appeared. The tone changed. Every relationship grew a price tag. If nobody knows what you have, nobody can take it from you. So you just said, "I've got a plan, Angela. I promise." And she gave you that sad little smile people save for men like you. The jacket kept working. The truck kept working. The silence kept working. You told yourself it could work forever. Then one Tuesday in October, your phone rang at 6:40 in the morning. It was Frank. And Frank was crying. Frank's business had been bleeding for 2 years. The SUV, the boat, the big house on Ridgeline, all of it stretched across a company that had quietly stopped growing and never told him. Now there was a foreclosure notice sitting on Angela's kitchen counter, 31 days. And here's the detail you'll never forget. Frank didn't call you for money. He called you because you were the only person he knew who wouldn't judge him. "You know what it's like," he said, voice cracking. "Living close to the edge. You've done it your whole life." You let that sentence hang there for a second. Then you said, "Meet me at the bank at 10. Bring Angela. Bring the notice." At 9:55, you walked into First Community Savings in the torn jacket, carrying the folder. The folder that had never once left the house. You sat down across from the loan officer, Frank and Angela on either side of you, and you slid the last page across the desk. The portfolio summary. Mester Bell's letterhead. The number at the bottom, $3,140,000. The loan officer read it and sat up straighter. Frank read it upside down and forgot how to breathe. But you weren't watching either of them. You were watching Angela. She didn't gasp. She didn't ask how much, or how, or since when. She looked at the number. Then she looked at you, and she asked the only question that ever really mattered. "How long, Mason?" And you heard every layer of it. "How long have you been carrying this by yourself? How long have you sat there letting Frank buy your lunch? How long have I been losing sleep over a brother who was never once in danger?" "A long time," you said. Her eyes filled up. Not over the money. Over 30 years of Thanksgivings where she thought her brother had nothing. While he sat quietly in the corner, protecting everyone from a number. The house got saved that morning. That part was easy. But that's not what the meeting was really about. That meeting was the moment Mason Wells finally understood what the folder had been costing him all along. 6 months later, you're back at the gas station. 6 in the morning. Same jacket, same tear in the left sleeve, same black coffee, same exact change. The check engine light's finally fixed, though. Angela wouldn't let it go. From the outside, nothing about you has changed. Underneath, something has. Because here's what those 30 years actually taught you, and it's not what you thought it was. Your father was half right. If nobody knows what you have, nobody can take it from you. That one sentence built everything. The route, the machines, the duplexes, the folder. But silence doesn't just keep out the takers. It keeps out everyone. The jacket protected the money perfectly. It just never asked what the money was for. Now Angela knows. Frank knows. Mester. Belle is drawing up paperwork with Angela's kids' names on it. Turns out the number never changed who you were, telling it did. And still, you wear the jacket, because the jacket was never really about hiding. The jacket is the daily reminder that you don't need anyone's eyes on you to be okay, that looking rich is a game, and you were never entered in it. Real wealth doesn't need witnesses. It needs time, and boredom, and quarters, and quiet Tuesday mornings. The money was never loud. That was the point. The cashier calls you Han and gives you that same old look, half kindness, half pity. You smile back, and when she turns around, you slip a 20 into the tip jar. Then you walk out to a 12-year-old truck that could be anything you wanted it to be, and is exactly what you need it to be. You look broke. Your net worth says otherwise. And for the first time in 30 years, you're finally at peace with both of those things being true.